LinkedIn, the place where you're supposedly supposed to find some jobs. Over the years, it's had a few kind of connotations behind it that is cringe. A lot of people have been saying it has a way where a lot of people are speaking on there about some of the achievements, some of the things that they've got up to in their day or what they've experienced. And recruiters have been looked at as very much annoying to a lot of people. Now, if LinkedIn is working for you, then you're good. You know, if you've had good experiences and you've known how to use the website for your advantage as a person looking for work, then you're good. But this is for the people that have had a sort of general gripe with it. There's also people saying LinkedIn can also sometimes be full of smoke and mirrors, you know, a lot of the time in terms of what is actually happening on there and the sort of ideologies by some of these recruiters. So I'm going to get into some clips of what people think. I'm going to give a video at the end that can give advice about how people can maximize LinkedIn, because obviously, let me keep it a little bit balanced with another view that refutes maybe some of the claims in this video. I've got a clip of a lady who works with different people to help them, you know, in positions and jobs, and to be able to give the right information for people to be able to articulate themselves in interviews. And she gives advice, game, insight, all of that stuff to the people that she works with. But she has an opinion on LinkedIn. It's one that I think is interesting to listen to.
LinkedIn, an organization supposedly worth $26 billion, is a scam, predatory, and gaslighting all of you. Let me cook. They recently reached out to me offering their quote unquote 2026 Skills on the Rise report. They don't pay for this. They just want to offer this to me so I can get it out to my followers because they know you all will need this information. So I bite. I get the report, which is just a one-page marketing tool. It's a top sales funnel. Every one of these skills that they say that you all need to get hired in 2026 conveniently has some sort of LinkedIn learning class associated with it. It's bullshit. They offer for me to get on a call with their in-house career expert. I won't tell you her name to protect the guilty, but you can find her if you check out LinkedIn career expert on LinkedIn, but don't even go on there. So we get on the call and I say, you know, as I see it, I don't think it's a lack of skills that is the problem in our current job market. We are in an employer's market, which means there are more people looking than there are jobs open. Companies can participate in really bad behavior because no one's holding them accountable, and 80% of hiring managers are not trained to interview. A lot of job seekers have these very skills, but they're not getting scheduled interviews because they are over 45 or 50. What do you have to say about ageism in our current market? And she said, ageism is anecdotal. And I clarified to make sure that she was basically gaslighting me and telling me that ageism doesn't exist. Okay, sure. So I went on to my next question and I said, well, how would you like me to address the very pervasive problem, which is ghosting in the modern day job search? And she said, the reason ghosting exists, according to LinkedIn, is because you all over apply. So yeah, you all are the problem. You don't have the skills. You're over applying. LinkedIn refuses to take any responsibility. There is no corporate responsibility for the hiring process. In fact, they don't even understand what that means. LinkedIn is predatory to people that are unemployed or looking for jobs. They just want you to upgrade to premium and fall for all of this scam that you need to optimize your LinkedIn profile to get a job. You don't. And if you believe any creators on this app, they're getting paid to tell you that.
So what do you guys think about that? Because for me, the ageism aspect, I believe there's some truth to that. I've come across people who've had instances where certain questions that they've had about experience and also background and age has been looked at a little bit in a way that's not that positive. Like, people have mentioned their age, people have mentioned what they've got to bring to a certain position. And I've seen and I've heard a lot of people, or a few people that I have come across, have said they've had moments where, you know, certain questions are not very much open in terms of how they're speaking. They're speaking in a way trying to insinuate that maybe this ain't for you because of your age. You know, there's ways that people question things. And if you're a little bit more, you know, open and understanding of how people can speak, you will notice. And there's been moments where that has happened and taken place for people. And obviously I've had experiences with what I've found out as well online, and just with, the general sort of mentality that can happen towards people who hit a certain age. So this is not surprising. Now, the ghosting aspect is the part where she explained why. Now, when it comes to that, that's an issue. That's an issue where it affects people of all ages, and that's an issue where employers, I would say, take the piss a lot of the time. But what she explained about it, I think that's a interesting angle. I think it's an angle where you got to look at it and think, okay, so what do you expect the candidates to do in these kind of climates, that take place when it's tight out here, when there's more people applying for less positions, and then employers can mess around with salaries, decrease for certain positions. Employers can even, as she said, interview, but at the same time not have the general skills to interview. And they can do in a way what they want. They can have criteria that a lot of the time is not in relation to the position as to why they say you're not valid for the position. So certain criteria has to be looked at even in certain jobs as well. If she's saying a lot of them don't have the training to be able to make certain decisions, basically, because they're not skilled in interviewing. So you got to look at these things. At the end, she's basically saying it's the person who is applying is the problem, more or less. Applying to too many positions, or having an influx of people applying and them not being basically skilled enough. So if that's a mentality, how do you want things to work in the economy? How do you want people to move forward? Or do the governments, particularly, for example, in the US or UK, because this is happening here too, in terms of issues in getting positions, how do you want candidates to find work? If this is the sort of mentality that is taking place in certain positions. There was also a comment on the video where someone says, I'm a recruiter. Ageism totally exists, sadly. And then response was, I'm a recruiter too. I can confirm. So people are having this kind of understanding of what's going on. There are issues. There are people in jobs who are saying, you know what? You may not fit because of your age, as opposed to what you actually know. No, your age may not fit with maybe the other person's within a certain position. And you can have your autonomy to make your decision. But let's keep it 100. When it comes to the reasons why you may not want to know the person, I think the key thing is here in this life, I think make it known what your intentions are, like what your business is. If you want to go in a certain direction, make it known to candidates. There has to be certain things that are put out that are realistic to people, so people can understand what they're gaining. Because some people go in with certain expectations as a candidate, thinking, okay, this is the place I'm going to do this, that, and the other, and try, but they have no kind of chance. So clarity should be had. Now, people's rights have to be taken in consideration, but clarity should be had in certain jobs, I think, going forward in this life, because there's too much fake stuff going on in life in general. You're going in thinking, okay, this is what you have to do, but someone has already made a criteria that is against you as a person and what you're about before you even get in. And one of them is age. So you got to look at these things.
One thing I'm glad I never did was create a LinkedIn account. You guys humiliated yourself for nothing. I really knew people that were on there every day of the week going, I'm proud to announce, I'm honored to mention that. Shut your mouth, mate. What did all that corporate bootlicking get? You're still as unemployed as I am. You have no job. At least I didn't have to do the little corporate jiggle. Because if that app was somewhat tolerable, maybe I could have gotten onto it, but it was just such corporate bootlicking. Like, you'd see guys on there that in real life, they're the biggest waste men. They have no accomplishment, but all of a sudden they're Jeff Bezos. Yeah, they're talking like they're gonna create a new Microsoft. Not hating on anyone's hustle, I get it. Like, times are tough. You gotta do what you gotta do to get that graduate role. But it's just like the risk to reward ratio is not worth it. I would genuinely rather walk into a building and hand my CV, right? And we all know that method's patched. So it goes to show just how bad I think LinkedIn is at getting you a job. I don't know how they would enforce this, but like, make the app a way that people stop acting like clowns, coming on there. Dude, listen, you're not like that.
You got one guy saying he ain't on it based on the fact that of the perception of it. He's heard, obviously, people, having these kinds of stories about, I'm glad to announce I'm this. That kind of making it sound like something is bigger than what it is and trying to act like, oh, I'm enthused, so I put on a good performance whenever I post, or, you know, I'm the epitome of professionalism, and I'm proactive, I'm interested. You know, it's all of those kinds of performance that he's basically saying, and I know what he means, but he said, look, he's glad he didn't sign up. So obviously he's gone on LinkedIn, seen things, and said, you know what? Nah, I'm not going to be a part of this. So I know what he means. Again, I've seen these things on LinkedIn. I've seen the people with so many connections, 500 plus connections, and 1,000, 2,000. And when you see some of the posts for certain positions, certain jobs, and certain verticals, it is cringy. That's where people feel a gripe. It's not about, I think anyway, it's not about not having the desire to do certain things and, you know, speak on certain things. It's just the way it's done. People think it's performative and it's fake. And I definitely know what he means. The way to, if you want to say remedy that, is just literally coming out with posts that you believe, if you're on there anyway, that you think are beneficial, and keeping it as straightforward as possible in terms of what the post is about, why you think it's interesting, and what it's going to do to help.
I'm going to say it. LinkedIn gives me the absolute fucking ick. I hate the fact that I have no choice but to use it because I'm looking for jobs. But I cannot stand the ass kissing, the posts showing off, the kissing of asses that goes on in the comments. It's just like, I can't cope with the fakeness. Oh my God, it's turned my stomach. I was eating and it's turned my stomach.
This woman says she was eating and it turned her stomach. She nearly threw up, I'm sure, when it came to some of the comments that she saw. She said, look, the performance, the butt licking, everything in regards to some of the ways people are on LinkedIn is getting to her. And like I say, I can relate. I understand what she's talking about. I understand what this video is that I'm bringing. There is a portion of people like that, a large portion. And sometimes when you are, especially if you're living life and you've been living it for a period, eventually, when you sit back, if you really want to take time with yourself, you start looking at life and saying, okay, what is really the point of things? Or what is really something that I'm thinking like? Like, how am I thinking? Like, am I going to keep performing for the majority of my life in work? Like, as you get older and older? And for the most part, you're just performing throughout your 8 or 9 hours you work, or if it's a certain job, 10 hours sometimes, or 12 hours, whatever it is you do. And yeah, get to the money, pay your bills. But it's just sometimes on these environments, it can sometimes be like, damn, you have to do this. Now, playing the game to get a position, you know, it's all something that people have had to do to get into certain positions that pay well, for example, or something that you really wanted to do. But at the same time, sometimes being a little bit original to who you are, and as long as who you are is not abrasive and you know, then at least bring a bit of who you are in these places. Because what is the point? As you think, you get older, you think, but what am I actually doing? You know, as a person, how am I actually coming across? Do I actually think like this? Or am I so much in a system mentality that you don't even think of it? There was a comment also on this video. Noodle Doodle says, the people loudest and most active on LinkedIn are always, almost without exception, awful at their jobs, this person says. But the person who did the video says there are genuine people using it the right way too. I think it's unfortunate that it's becoming overrun with a lot of performative and egotistical content. Far different from when I set up my account 20 odd years ago. So yes, you're going to have people who believe what Noodle Doodle said, but she says there's also, you know, genuine people on it. And that's the point. If people are having LinkedIn work for them, then that's good. Let it work for you. But if it's not, and if you've been on there and it feels performative, it feels fake, and you have experience with that, then this is what this video is. Because again, it just highlights certain mentalities that a lot of people encounter.
So I deleted my LinkedIn a couple months ago. I know, oh, you deleted your LinkedIn? And here's the thing. I feel like LinkedIn is one of the most low vibrational apps. I don't know what to explain. Like, I don't know what it is, but for some reason, LinkedIn just made me feel stressed, pressed, and made me just feel like I was stuck in scarcity. The moment I deleted it and was just like, forget it, I have had so many opportunities just pop up out of nowhere, just like amazing opportunities. I also feel like that the app is full of monitoring spirits. Like those notifications where it's like, this person viewed your app or this profile saw you. It's like, who is looking at my stuff? I also think that they are selling our information, because every time I would apply for a job, my phone would be ringing off the hook with like spam calls, not even jobs, spam calls. I swear there will be a class action lawsuit at some time in regards to LinkedIn and our data, because you can't convince me otherwise. Free yourself, delete it, walk away from it.
Well, she's deleted it. She says she's had more opportunities without it. And if that's the case, yeah, then that's good. You know what I mean? If you don't get what you need from it, then yeah, leave and get something better. And if you're literally saying you believe it feels like someone is monitoring you and is monitoring spirits, and, you know, there will be a class action suit later on, hey, let's watch this space, because at the end of the day, a lot of these big companies be selling data. And she's alluding to, that's what she believes. A lot of these companies do it. You know, the data is right there. So it's easy for that to take place. It's easy for things to just move and be sold without a lot of the time our knowledge. You know, and that's the thing about these websites as well. Sometimes you got to check, okay, how long have I been on it? What has it done? Is it really benefiting me? Have I approached it in different ways to try and see some results from it, you know, in terms of my profile or whatever? And if you're not getting anywhere, it doesn't mean you need to delete it completely. But if you reduce the amount of time you're on it, then maybe there's another way to get a position, with the sort of way that she's probably thinking that, look, it takes a weight off me because I don't feel that I have to perform. You know, and when she said she stopped using it, she saw benefits elsewhere.
Does anybody else feel like LinkedIn is like low key the most toxic of all the social media apps? Something about that app, man, just fucking every time I log in, it's just, just doesn't feel real in any way. It reminds me of the scene from Office Space where the guy's like, hey, anybody ever say to you, looks like someone has a case of the Mondays? That, the whole thing, all LinkedIn is people just doing case of the Mondays shit. Shit you wouldn't say, shit you shouldn't say to other people. Happy work anniversary, you've worked here for 3 years? What? Why are you... why are we celebrating that? What the fuck are we doing? And then the rest of it is just people, well, I have a better paying job. No, I have a better paying job. No, I am a senior manager. No, I'm the most important. Every time someone gets a new position, new job, you tell what is going on? That is, fuck that place.
That type of thing. 3-year anniversary of this position I've been in. That's good. You've been in there for a good amount of time. But to post it, you can post it. But it's just, again, the way it comes across, like, when is there an anniversary that we used to associate with jobs? It wasn't really that. You know, yes, people can now buck the trend and do new things and be progressive. But really and truly, it wasn't associated with that. You know, being in a position for 4, 6, 8, 10, whatever amount of years you've been in there. And LinkedIn has provided that now. And I think that's the cringe aspect. You're providing things on there that, what is the necessary benefit you gain from that? And I think that's where people are saying, okay, if I speak like this, if I put this on there, what are we doing here? Is it just to boost each other up, which is, okay, you can boost each other up, you can give confidence and motivation to people, or is it just, this is what takes place generally on LinkedIn because it's become a platform that is about being performative? Whereas when it first was early started and really, you know, garnering interest, and it was about, you can find recruiters, you can find candidates, and these are the jobs that are available, and these are the connections you have with different people, different, you know, remits. And that was generally the gist of it. Now it became, I don't know when the time was when that change happened with posts that were done in a certain way, or the way people started speaking was different. I don't know when that came, why it became a thing to follow suit with. You know, the cult is like a culture change, a culture shift. And I think that's where people are talking about. You see, a platform can be a platform and it can be used a certain way initially, but it changes. And that's when people start feeling something and seeing something totally different to what it was. And what it was facilitating people, and people seemed maybe a bit more, felt a bit more inclusive, you know, in terms of how people were. It didn't seem like I have to speak in this way. This this proper way or this way of, delivering a message. Now that's where I think people's gripes are. People just want to be able to link with people, get positions, and yeah, man, be referred and maximize what they want to do. That's it.
Listen, I have quite a few things that I'd want to achieve in this life. One of them is definitely to delete LinkedIn permanently. I don't think we talk enough about how negative a platform LinkedIn actually is. Because wallahi, it just like normalizes gloating. You'll be out there fighting for your bloody life and then you get on LinkedIn and then now you even feel worse about yourself and your situation whilst you're literally just trying to do your best. In addition to that, no one speaks like that. If you have used that app before, you know exactly what I mean. No one talks like that in real life. I cannot wait to get to a point where I no longer need to be on that app, where it literally means nothing and I can just like permanently delete my account. Like, I will be pleased to announce that I have left LinkedIn. I hate that godforsaken app. I'm not even kidding. Wow. LinkedIn, count your days.
He said he's looking to dip from the app. He's looking to run. But the point is, I also say, you might as well just leave now. You might as well. I know you're holding on because obviously he's probably thinking, look, I still can get, something out of this. Or let me just have the profile so people know that, okay, I'm on this profile. I have this profile that people can find me, for example. So that will be a thing maybe. Or if he's in a position and he's going for a position and, sometimes employers will ask, oh, are you on LinkedIn? Maybe just have a footprint online, basically. So he's probably doing it for that purpose. But him wanting to leave it, yeah, man, you might have to look at leaving it even maybe sooner because you have that right. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to say, look, I'm counting, LinkedIn has its days numbered, then yeah, man, you might as well speed up those days because what is the point if you're going to continually, feel a way about it? But also, it shouldn't also make you feel a way about you as well, because a lot of time people will look at other people and think, okay, this is what they're doing. But does it really matter if you need to do what you need to do for yourself? Like what they're doing, it doesn't matter. It should be about what you're looking to do. So that's the key, feeling a way about yourself because you're seeing someone else or people talking about what they're doing and where they're going. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. They don't pay your bills. You have to think about how you're going to do your thing and focus on your strengths. That's the key.
If you think LinkedIn is useless in your job search, and I've heard it before, worked with clients who claim it, more often than not, you're not really taking full advantage of what LinkedIn can do for you. There are 5 things you need to do to your profile right now to make it better and get better results. 1, fix your profile. Come on, I've got a ton of videos on what works, what doesn't, what you ought to be doing, and what you need to communicate in your profile. You got a crappy profile, you're going nowhere. Fix your profile. You need strong content in all the right places. The search algorithm is looking at the content. If you got next to no content or really crappy content or weak content, you're not going to be found. Build community. Take advantage of all the people you have access to. Talk to your connections. Post for your connections. Write an article. Get engaged. Similarly, connect with people. Join relevant groups filled with people who do what you do in your field and get engaged with them. And lastly, really take advantage of all the LinkedIn job search tools that LinkedIn offers. A lot of them are available in premium. Consider getting premium, even just for a few months, and really take advantage of those tools. They can be really, really helpful.
Okay, that's the balance to this. That's the other side to it. That's his opinion about how you can maximize LinkedIn. But he did mention about taking premium, maybe even if you get it for a few months. The lady at the start of the video said you don't even need premium. It's a way to make money. That's what she said at the start about basically these are things you don't need to find a position. So the change of LinkedIn is the thing, the change of when it kind of started and what it was generally about. Now it's like a performance-based look at me kind of vibe. These are the things that have changed it from what a lot of people are saying. And I think that's the main issue, to have all these premium and put a post up, engage and go here or there and everywhere. Yes, if you've got connections, it's important to use them. A lot of people just want to be able to get in, have a seamless conversation, see a position, approach, the person or the recruiter and have a decent conversation and see if there's any synergy there. Whereas you have to put this post, make sure your profile's like this, make sure, and you're not even getting somewhere sometimes by doing this. Now, I put this out there, I put this person's clip on just to show a different side, but you have to try and take, I guess, certain things and see what you can do if you really want to use LinkedIn and take maybe some tips that you think make sense. What do you guys think? What's your opinion on LinkedIn? How does it work for you? What do you think can improve from it in a general sense? Are there things that you think the candidates can do better to, get some success on there? And are there things that the recruiters generally can do better as well? What would you change? What will you keep the same? Are people just complaining, or are people having some truth to what they're saying? Let me know what you guys think.